There are a lot of expensive and overcomplicated wireless microphone systems out there, but if you want something that's easy to use, gives you great audio, and is super affordable, check this out. All right, so here's a 4K video sample shot on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, but I'm using the iPhone's internal microphone to record the audio. And now all I did is connect the Lark A1. I'm the same distance from the camera, and I want you to ask yourself if this makes a significant difference. All right, so this is the Hollyland Lark A1. It's a wireless microphone system that's designed to be used with smartphones, and it's a great option for vloggers, YouTubers, and content creators who want to easily improve the audio in their video. The package that I got includes 2 transmitters with built-in microphones, 2 receivers. One is USB-C, which will work with most phones, and then one has a lightning port in case you have an older iPhone. And this whole setup was under $70, but in reality, most people can just go with the USB-C package, which is under $50. And if you don't want the charging case at all, it's under $35, which is a crazy value. As far as setup, there was no pairing needed. As soon as I opened the box, everything was ready to go and I could start recording. Now, one super important feature, which I've seen in more expensive systems, is that both receivers have a USB-C port. So you can actually charge your phone while the receiver is plugged in, and that way you essentially have unlimited power. So let's go ahead and start listening to some smartphone samples, and as always, no processing has been done to any of the audio samples. Let's test out the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and again, we're gonna go ahead and start with the phone's internal microphone. All right, and now switching over to the Lark A1, and you should immediately hear a difference in the audio quality and the amount of background noise that you can hear. And this is with noise cancellation turned off. We'll turn noise cancellation on later on. Next, we're gonna try the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and just like with the other phones, I'm sitting about 5 feet away from the phone. And now switching over to the Lark A1, and again, you should be able to hear a pretty noticeable difference. So you can see that this works with any phone, regardless of which one you get. And let me know in the comment section which image quality you like the best. Now, another question that I get in the comment is whether you still need a microphone like this if you are vlogging or if you're closer to the phone. So I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7, and this is what it sounds like with the internal microphone. So now I went ahead and plugged in the receiver. Again, I'm using the Lark A1, and this is what it sounds like with a dedicated microphone. And in my opinion, regardless of what your application is, you're always going to get cleaner audio if you don't use the internal microphone in your smartphone. Now, a lot of times we don't realize how much background noise is around us because we're just used to hearing it all the time. But when you're watching a video, especially one where someone is speaking, it can become super distracting. All right, so starting out, again, we're going to use the iPhone 16 Pro Max with the internal microphone just to hear what that sounds like. And next, switching over to the Lark A1, and this is with noise cancellation turned off. And now I went ahead and turned on noise cancellation. All I have to do is press the button on the transmitter one time and it turns it on. I don't have to get up. And I love having this feature when I'm in noisy environments, but even in an environment like this, you should hear a pretty noticeable difference. I also had a request from one of my viewers to test the microphone system in a more challenging environment that might simulate other conditions you're going to run into. All right, so here I am in a pretty busy mall and I'm starting out with just the iPhone 16 Pro Max internal microphone. All right, and this is switching to the Lark A1 with noise cancellation turned off, just to give you an idea of what that's going to sound like. And now I went ahead and turned noise cancellation on, and this should give you a pretty good idea of what this microphone is going to sound like if you use it in a mall, at a conference, or at a trade show. Now, as far as mounting the microphone, each transmitter has a tiny magnet on the back that you can easily slap into place on the collar or anywhere else on your shirt. Something else to keep in mind is that if you run into situations where you have to deal with wind, you also get 2 small dead cats or windscreens, which are going to be a lifesaver for removing wind noise. All right, so starting out, we're using the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this is just using the internal microphone. All right, and now I'm using the Lark A1. Not sure if there's enough wind for you to hear, but this is what it sounds like without the dead cat and without noise cancellation turned on. Now I went ahead and added the dead cat, and at the same time, the wind actually picked up, so it'll be super interesting to hear what this sounds like. All right, so now we've got the Lark A1, we've got the dead cat, and we have noise cancellation turned on, so let's hear what this sounds like. Now, with the charging case that we talked about, this setup is rated for up to 54 hours of working time, which is just insane. And the whole setup charges to full capacity super fast if you ever need to top it off on the go with something like a power bank. Now, both receivers have a single button to easily control the transmitters. You can toggle noise cancellation on and off with a single click. You can double click to toggle mute for transmitter 1 or triple click for transmitter 2. This is super nice if you're helping someone film and you're behind the phone. If you're recording alone, you could use the single button on the transmitter to toggle noise cancellation with one click. You can mute and unmute with a double click. And then one of my favorites, you can actually start and stop recording with a triple click, so you don't actually have to walk up to the phone. Now, something else that I tested was using the Lark A1 with my Osmo Pocket 3. And this way I'm getting 24-bit audio from up to 2 sources, and I can connect it directly to the Osmo Pocket 3 or to the optional battery pack. Another great feature is the Lark Sound app, which is super useful. It automatically detects that the receiver is plugged in, as well as when any of the microphones are paired. Now that you're paired, you can see the charging level for each mic. You can see audio levels. You can enable and disable noise cancellation, as well as whether to use the high, medium, or low setting. You can select one of the 6 volume level settings, and you can select between 2 channel modes. So mono means that both transmitters are going to one channel, and then stereo splits them into 2 different channels so that you can edit them separately in post. You can mute and unmute each transmitter from the app. You can select between 3 different EQ settings for different situations. There is a mic identification feature which changes the LED color on the transmitter so you can easily differentiate between them. You can schedule a 15-minute power off when the mic is not paired, and you can actually turn off the indicator light on the transmitter if you don't want it showing up in your video, which is a nice touch. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do a distance test. And I'm going to start out by turning away from the camera, and we're going to see if the camera loses, or the phone loses, signals relatively quickly, or if it's able to maintain signal even as I'm walking away. With a lot of system, it loses it. All right, so now I am way over here, and I'm going to go ahead and start walking back. Hopefully the signal was reestablished when I turned around. I'm interested in hearing how far I was able to get, or how far away from the smartphone I was able to get while still sending a clear signal. There I go. I always mention that I don't really use my microphones this way. I'm never this far away from whatever smartphone or camera I'm using, but this is always a good test if you're going to use them in environments where you do move around, where maybe you're walking around the kitchen or around the studio. And the nice thing about this is that as you're walking away, the microphone stays the same distance away from your mouth. So from the source, really, which is you. And this is a test with noise cancellation on and with the windscreen on, because I'm walking around and it is quite windy here. So this should be able to attenuate all of those sounds. Like this car is on, there are cars driving around me, and I should walk in front of the phone instead of off to the side, but I wasn't paying attention. And there's another car coming behind me. So I'm super excited to hear this. So who's the Hollyland Lark A1 system for? Like I mentioned, there are multiple packages starting at just $35 and then going up to $70. I've got links to everything in the description. And the Lark A1 is a great option for content creators who want a super affordable, simple, convenient, plug and play system to easily get better audio. Hopefully this video was helpful. You know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.